Welcome to part 21F on the Lackawanna Cut-Off. The missing 21 miles, where in this segment we're going to go from the Delaware River Viaduct to Slateford Junction. Hi, I'm Chuck Walsh, and I'm president of the North Jersey Rail Commuter Association. And this is the final segment in this 6-part mini-series on the missing 21 miles on the cutoff between Andover, New Jersey and Slateford Junction, Pennsylvania. In this section, which is a very short, relatively short compared to all the other segments we've done, this is only about a mile between here, where we're roughly in the middle of the bridge over the Delaware River, and Slateford Junction. The thing with this is that I've put my bicycle aside. This is going to be a walking 1 mile, because having scouted this out before, you really can't bicycle on the viaduct itself because of the heavy ballast. But once you get beyond the viaduct over here, our friends with the ATVs have not been using it because basically it's a dead end at Slateford Junction. The Slateford Road, what used to be the bridge, is a fill-in temporarily for almost 30 years now, but it's a dead end. So as a result, there hasn't been much in the way of traffic in the sense of people using it in one way or another between the end of the bridge here and to Slateford Junction. So I'm going to be going into the who knows what. I'll do my best, walk along that, and then we'll end up at Slateford Junction and wrap up the whole 6-part series at that point. What are we going to see between here and there? Well, we're going to see basically, well, the viaduct itself, 1,450 feet long, not nearly as tall as the Haynesburg Viaduct. It's only 65 feet between the top of the rail, the top of the track, and the river at its normal height. The river's a little high. We've had lots of rain, as we've talked about, and that ends up in the river, and the river's running pretty fast and high, but not flood, but not flood stage, but moving pretty well. At the end of the bridge is the famous 3.5 degree curve that was either 50 or 55 miles an hour. That was the most speed restricting curve in the entire line, the whole 28.5 miles of the cutoff, right there at the end of the bridge. The bridge was originally planned to be a curved structure, but it ended up being a straight line across. Not sure why that is the case. They would have continued the curve that was east of the bridge all the way across and would have eliminated that particular restricting curve. Why they did that, I've asked that question in several videos already. Don't know the answer to that, but that was what they ended up doing. And then Slateford itself, we'll stop there, we'll take a look, and then we'll wrap it up. There's not really too much in between. Once again, there's only about a mile total. There's only that much in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but once again, very important part. It's all important, but this is just as important as any other part on the cutoff. So off I'm going to go. So this will give you a different experience. That I'll start walking and continue to walk. No need for worrying about whether I'm going to tip over or whatever with the bicycle, because I think it makes more sense to go on my 2 feet. So off we go.
More refuge bays. Now this is where it gets interesting. Once we get beyond the bridge, we'll be going over the old road. That is a point of interest. I don't know how much we'll be able to see of it. I think we'll see a little bit. Let's see. Oh, another refuge bay.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
What'd you find?
A bridge.
That's it. All right.
There we go. There's the old road. Take a quick look. And Slateford Road right next to it. We will parallel both. The right-of-way will curve to the right. And here's the part where it gets interesting. And we'll see how far we can go. Oh boy. I haven't been through here in I don't know how long. Uh-huh. I don't even know if it's passable. If it is passable, I think it's passable this way. I just have to watch out for poison ivy, among other things. Okay. This is that curve which was super elevated, super duper elevated, I think, in the Erie Lackawanna days. I think they actually got it up to speed limit of 55 miles an hour, requiring that, I think, don't quote me, but I want to say 6 inches of super elevation, which means that the outside track had to be 6 inches taller than the inside track, I believe. That's about the maximum that you get in terms of banking, and still have a I think you need like a waiver to get anything beyond that. As much as I disparage the ATVs, they do serve to keep these rights of way open, And this is a section where the ATVers have not been traveling. So I'm on my own here. I don't know if this is even, if this can be done or not. Yeah, hi, where are you? It is so bad, there is no way I can walk it. So, what I'm thinking to do is to, well, two ways we can do it. We can re-record the beginning, and then I'll just say I'm going to have to walk the road and describe it from the road, because, I mean, I'm literally at a point where I'm staring at like 5 feet of brush and I can't see anything in front of me. And what do you think? Okay, well, I can edit it. I could go back to where where I would go down to the road and then just walk the road and I'll just have to edit. It's like, oh, you know, or I could even go to the dead end here and then we just start all over again, you know, like say, oh, we reached a dead end, and then explain from there. Yeah, I can just go back. I'll just go back, and I mean, it's going to continue to record, but I'll go back to where it crosses the road and just come down on the road and walk the road. I thought this was a possibility, but it was worth a try, but it's, I mean, it's unbelievable. Same place. No. I mean, it's up to you, but I mean, what I'm thinking is Slateford. I mean, I'll just, yeah, I mean, say, well, you know, we tried, but I'm going to go and turn around and, I mean, I'm recording now, but I mean, I'll edit it so that it's like, oh, we tried, but, you know, couldn't go any further. And come back to the road and edit it and send it. But I'll still meet you at, you know, over by Slateford. Okay. Right. Bye. Okay, so we have to go back. We tried. I mean, if I brought my crew of people with chainsaws, maybe this might have been doable. It was worth a shot. There we go. Well, one thing's for certain, I was right about the fact that there was no way to ride a bicycle on this. Jeez. Try to get out of here unscathed. Which way did I go? We're back to the viaduct. Touching anything that I'm going to regret. Small refuge bay. Well, this would qualify as an archaeological expedition. All right. This is what you call bailing. It's the pragmatic approach to the situation. Okay, you see the west end of the viaduct over here, and the old road. Now what will happen here is the right away the cutoff is it's up above. I'm gonna guess 25 feet or so above. That's a rough guess. Maybe 30 tops. And it will slowly drop to meet the old road at Slateford Junction. Now here to our left, Route 611, which parallels the cutoff. On the other side, of course, on the other side from where I'm walking right now. It's the only road along the entire cutoff that is close enough and parallels the cutoff where you could have, in a sense, tried to race a train if you were so disposed. And after the cutoff, the Jersey cutoff was built, one of the things they were looking at, the Lackawanna was looking at, was to build a cutoff that would have connected with this cutoff and gone through the water gap, and would have gone all the way to East Stroudsburg, I think, in the neighborhood of Gravel Place. Would have totally realigned the right-of-way. It would also realigned where the old road would have connected in. Now if you look behind the house, the cutoff is back up there. That proposal actually, I want to say, came through, was even after the Pennsylvania cutoff had opened. I'm trying to remember the year off the top of my head, but I want to say it started getting into the World War I time frame, and President Truesdale presumably thought better of it for maybe various reasons. The cutoff, when I say the cutoff, I'm talking about the one that would have been from Slateford to Gravel Place. That cutoff would have created a tunnel through the Delaware Water Gap and would have eliminated one of the scenic highlights of the line. Now, it would have certainly replaced the speed restricted line, because the main reason why they wanted to realign the railroad was because of the speed restrictions, particularly that 40-mile-an-hour speed restriction where in 1958 the runaway ended up in the drink, as Jerry Cruz put it, and the 1947 wreck, Calangetti, occurred at that particular 40-mile-an-hour speed limit at point of gap. So that would have been a main reason to eliminate that, but they would have had to board and through the rock under Mount Minzy on the left, on the Pennsylvania side, as we're facing up here straight. Mount Minzy's on the left, Mount Tammany is on the right in New Jersey. But it never happened, either because of cost, the practicality of what it might have done to operating I don't want to say passenger service.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I like your GoPro.
Oh, thank you.
You should actually do the card with me today.
Oh, well, thank you.
We're actually going around teaching people about Jesus Christ. Do you think you'd be interested at all?
No, I think maybe another time. Well, thank you, though.
I like it.
Thanks. So, as we continue on, you can see the tracks, the old road, and the cutoff is above us now. That looks like it might be walkable at this point, but I'm not going to cut through somebody's property to get there. I know part of it is, but part of it is not. But if you lived here back in the day, and when the Lackawanna particularly, it's a very busy railroad, you had two tracks to your right over here and two tracks to your left. Actually, more than two tracks. You have a siding here, so you have multiple tracks, 3 and 4 tracks, but a number of different trains coming through at different times. And good, how are you? And this spot would have been, well, not only a train watcher's heaven. I'm not sure how the people here felt about that, because it would have been almost constant activity of clickety-clack trains rumbling past. Would have been just I would think, an incredibly busy spot. But now the old road here sees very little activity, because the interchange between Delaware Lackawanna, which operates the old Pocono mainline, the old Lackawanna mainline, to Scranton, interchange is up near Scranton over in Taylor, with the Norfolk Southern folks. And as a result, there's very little of activity now on the old road here. And of course, the cutoff itself is gone for now. So now you can see the embankment there. Folks keep it very almost, I would say pristine, but you know, very nice. But that's it right there. And Route 611 is just on the other side of that. You got a feel for the nature of Slateford here. It's not an incorporated town. I don't know if it's actually considered to be part of any town per se. I don't know, maybe Upper Mount Bethel Township, I'm not sure. But Slateford itself does not have any governing body over it that I'm aware of. Did railroaders live here? I believe so. Some of these houses are older than others. Some of them look like they're could be much more recent, relatively speaking. Some of these look like they date back quite a bit. I think in this group of houses here look like they date back, I think, at least to the 20s, and not earlier. This is another area of not my expertise in terms of architecture, and being able to tell you it could be much older than that too. I grew up in an old house, but it had been modified so many times you couldn't really tell. That's another story for another time. I'll talk about my house, but yeah, and you can see 611, yeah, how close that is, and that embankment that you can see with bushes and everything. That's the cutoff coming down. In other words, you know, the grade is coming down probably 0.5%, coming down from where the viaduct was, you know, kind of fixed in terms of its height, and then dropping down to be the level of the old road. So you're getting a tour of Slateford, Pennsylvania. And I'm probably being spared a bad case of poison ivy or oak or sumac or snake bites, who knows what. In that, well, you can see up there is the cutoff. It's coming down. It's getting closer and closer to us in terms of its height, as you would expect. Of course, we had the river to our right as well, down farther down to our right, but not too far away. Most of these look to be originals, I'm guessing. A lot of character here. And you see the cutoff. You have stairs up to the cutoff. That's interesting. Oh, it's really low. Okay. Coming up to the Slateford Inn, affectionately known as the Star Wars Bar. And there's the cutoff up there at now not so impressive embankment. My videographer. We take a walk to the Slateford Junction. Got a nice tour of Slateford. No, we'll keep going.
Cut it?
No, well, I'm gonna.
Because I'm in the same clothes.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Now you're gonna have to get to that part.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I have a picture of the photographer standing underneath that. Nice spot. As long as they're not actively doing something here, we'll just stay away from the tracks and I think we'll be okay. Slateford Road, they kept this part of it, and then there was a bridge here. Haven't quite gotten to the bridge yet. What was the bridge? Pennsylvania DOT, Department of Transportation, otherwise known as PennDOT, had this torn down in 1990, and just about the end there you can see where the concrete ends. And then the bridge, also concrete, began, but that was torn down and then filled in, creating this blockade that the ATVers would not attempt to come to here. They would just turn around at the bridge, the viaduct rather, to be more specific. Obviously both are bridges, but okay, Slateford. The cutoff came in I know there's still tracks here from the cutoff, but they're not easily discernible, and I'm not going to go trudging into the weeds to try to find them, but there's still some of the originals, and they're buried also underneath the embankment of the roadway. We are back on the right of way of the cutoff here. I want to say they've reconfigured here a little bit, but it's this track here would have been originally part of the cutoff, or to the extent that they moved it slightly, because it was a straight shot through here, and then there was beyond the tower there was a switch, and that was basically the end of the cutoff as built. 28.45 miles west of Port Morris Junction. And it would be just past the interlocking tower, which is, we should be coming up on it. failed to mention that over by the bridge there was a turntable, 70-foot turntable that was in operation for not very long, 10-15 years. Here's the interlocking tower. And you can say that the cutoff kind of ended a little bit beyond where the last locomotive is. In later years, call it the cutoff track continued on further for about maybe a half a mile or so. And there's a switch from the old road from the track on the far side, and the two combined. But technically speaking, the cutoff really went about as far, a little bit further than here, but just about, we're the interlocking tower, I guess you would say in formal terms, is probably the demarcation of the end of the line and of the new line, which would have been the New Jersey cutoff.
Okay, here we are at Slateford Junction. Slateford interlocking tower. The Delaware Lackawanna, you can see their locomotives are parked here. Their business is so good that I believe they're running short of siding space, so they're actually using Slateford here, even though they don't actually run down to Slateford per se anymore. So we've gone through 6 different segments, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Unanticipated, I guess, or maybe slightly anticipated or dreaded, maybe, that having to basically turn around and bail on attempting to walk all the way through. It looks like there might have been, if I'd been able to make it through with a machete, that at some point it would have gotten to the point where I might have been able to walk the rest all the way to Slateford, or at least to Slateford Road. I wouldn't have been able to go any further than that. But you got a tour of Slateford, Pennsylvania, instead of getting a tour of the cutoff per se. At least that short little section, you'll have to use your imagination. Going through this whole particular series, what can I say? We've had our experiences starting in April with just very little in way of foliage. Now we're in the beginning of June, and you can see where everything is in full bloom in terms of the right-of-way. Had some trials and tribulations, but we got to see basically everything except for the one section. We can show you some photographs of that. That's quite possible to do. But we've done the 21 missing miles, and this is basically the goal. This is where if there's ever going to be a golden spike driven, it'll be driven somewhere in this area here, connecting the reactivated cutoff and what I call the Pocono mainline, the line here that runs to the old road as we paralleled it through Slateford up from Portland, but it goes all the way to Scranton, and actually goes even further than that, goes to Binghamton. This is the ultimate goal here. So the idea behind showing you the 21 missing miles wasn't necessarily with the intent of showing me trudging through mud, water, and pushing aside all sorts of brush and so forth. And not to discourage you as to what the condition of the right-of-way is, but to at least give you an idea, okay, this is what it looks like, but using your imagination and also filling in the details with historical photographs, being able to tell you, okay, this is where we are, this is what it looked like, and once again, use your imagination, this is what it may look like once again, someday, whenever that day, and we will continue to work on that. So that is the end of part 21. Part 21F, but 21A through F. So certainly thank you for watching, hopefully all the 6 videos and any of those that preceded the part 21, and I hope you'll look forward to part 22 on the Lackawanna Cut-Off.